At 4:05 p.m. on July 24th, 1959, my penis was born. The rest of me really just came along for the ride. Now, I would like to believe that I was conceived out of love, but I suspect I was conceived out of a drunken horniness. My father's, not my mother's. I imagine my mother lying underneath my father, her head turned to the side in case his teeth fell out, and all the while thinking, Lord Jesus, please let this next one be a little queer boy so I'll have somebody to help me with the housework. When I was a little kid, 4 or 5 years old, my paternal grandparents came for a visit. At the end of that visit, it was decided that my older brother would go and spend the night with them. I wanted to go, but my father said I could not. I stood on the front porch of our house, and I watched my father's white Buick station wagon pull out of the driveway. I became very upset over the fact that I was being left behind, upset to the point where I started crying and jumping up and down on the porch. I saw my father's car come to a stop, my father get out of the car and come towards me. I panicked, so I took off running down the street as fast as I could. My father started chasing me. He eventually caught me, grabbed me by the back of the neck, yanked me back to the house, and tossed me into the living room. He took off his belt, and he beat me with it across my bare back. But because I was so skinny, the belt wrapped halfway around my chest, and when he was finished, I had red stripes circling my torso. And if that wasn't bad enough, they were horizontal stripes that made me look fat. I lay on the sofa in tears. My mother eventually came into the living room. She did not say a word to me. She picked up the coffee table, placed it on the sofa over my body, and she proceeded to dust the floor. In the 1970s, I loved watching Soul Train. I learned to dance watching Soul Train. Well, that and my natural ability as a homosexual, of course. On Saturday afternoons, I watched Soul Train in the living room where our TV was. My father would come into the room and he would make comments to me such as, I don't know why you want to watch a bunch of monkeys jump up and down. One Saturday afternoon, he came into the living room. He had a beer in one hand, a cigarette in the other, and he said to me, you know, Eddie, I ought to take you over to D.C. and set you off with all the other niggers. I fought back the tears for as long as I could, which wasn't for very long, and then I went upstairs to my bedroom. I turned my music on as loud as it would go, I shut my eyes, and I danced. I just danced. My father would eventually send up one of my siblings and tell me to turn it down. One night, I was school clothes shopping with my mother in a Montgomery Ward's. This was back in the day when boys' jeans came in 2 basic sizes, slim and husky. I was slim. My older brother was husky. That night, I somehow managed to get separated from my mother. Maybe I purposely separated myself so I would never have to go back to that house again. A store employee eventually found me, took me to an office, made an announcement over the PA system. My mother had to come and collect me. When we got into the car, my mother told my father what happened, and when we got home, my father took off his belt and he beat me. But I had a brand new pair of slim-sized jeans to look forward to wearing the next day. If queers know anything, it's fashion before pain.